They say, time waits for no man, but a real man learns to wait for time. See, patience ain't about sitting still. It's about standing strong while the world tests your limits. Most people want the prize without the process, the glory without the grind. But the ones who rise, they understand that every moment of waiting, every silent struggle, every delayed dream, it's all building them into something unbreakable. Patience is power in slow motion, and a man who masters it, he can't be rushed, broken, or replaced. You ever walk into a room and feel the air change, but you don't know why? It's not about the clothes, not about the money, not even about the face. It's that quiet power that moves through somebody who knows who they are. That's confidence, not the fake kind that tries too hard, but the kind that just exists. It's peace mixed with strength. It's the man who don't got to say a word, but everyone still listens when he talks, because confidence ain't loud, it's steady. It's that energy that tells the world, I know my worth, even if you don't. See, the thing about confidence is it can't be bought or borrowed. You can't rent it for a night or build it through likes on a screen. Something that comes from pain, struggle, and rising up when life tried to bury you. It's born in silence, when nobody believed in you, but you kept pushing anyway. That's where real confidence lives. And women, they can feel that. You don't got to explain it. They can sense when a man has built himself from the ground up. That's what makes them drawn in, not because he's perfect, but because he's solid. He's unshakable. You ever notice that when a man walks with certainty, people look at him differently? It's like the universe clears the path for him. A confident man doesn't chase validation, and that's what makes him powerful. He ain't out here begging for attention or trying to prove something. He just is. And when a woman sees that kind of man, it touches something deep inside her. It makes her feel safe, not because he's trying to control her, but because his presence says, I got me and I got you too. That's rare in a world full of people still trying to figure out who they are. Confidence isn't just standing tall. It's standing tall after being knocked down. It's knowing your flaws but not letting them define you. It's showing up when you're scared but doing it anyway. I've seen men who had nothing in their pockets but still walk like kings because they believed in their vision. And I've seen men with everything, money, fame, success, still broken inside because they let the world tell them who to be. That's the difference. Real confidence comes from within, not from applause. And it's not just about how you treat yourself, it's how you treat others. A confident man doesn't need to belittle anyone. He lifts people up. He ain't threatened by someone else's shine because he knows his own light don't dim when someone else glows. That energy is magnetic. It draws people in, not out of fear, but out of respect. Women notice that too. They notice how you handle rejection, how you talk to strangers, how you carry yourself when no one's watching. Because confidence is in the details. It's in your tone, your patience, your silence. Confidence also brings calm. When a man believes in himself, he doesn't need to argue with the world. He listens more, reacts less, because he knows who he is can't be shaken by a single moment. That peace is what makes him different. Women don't lust after chaos. They lust after control. Emotional control, spiritual control, that quiet mastery of self that says, I've been through storms, but I'm still standing. You see, when you carry confidence, you don't just move, you inspire movement. You don't chase, you attract. You don't perform, you exist. And that kind of presence, that's what makes heads turn, hearts race, and minds wonder. It's not about being perfect. It's about being real. Confidence is the rhythm of survival, the beat of resilience, the sound of someone who's already fought the war within and came out undefeated. So when people ask why women lust after that kind of man, it's simple. Because real confidence is rare. It's the most attractive thing in a world full of masks. It's truth in motion. It's a man saying without words, I'm enough. And when you can say that, not just out loud, but deep in your soul, that's when the world starts to listen. Ambition, now that's a fire that never stops burning. It's the hunger that keeps a man awake at night when everyone else is sleeping. It's that voice in the back of your mind whispering, you were made for more. A man with ambition don't just live. He moves with purpose. He's not waiting for permission. He's building his own lane, brick by brick, scar by scar. And that kind of energy, women feel it. They don't just see what he is, they see what he's becoming. That's what pulls them in. The ambition is powerful because It's alive, it's motion, it's drive, it's the kind of force that refuses to stay still. When a man's ambitious, he's not satisfied with average. He's out there grinding, chasing dreams that other people too scared to imagine. And when a woman watches that, when she sees him get up early, put in work, fight for his goals, it speaks louder than words ever could, because ambition shows character. It shows discipline. It says, I'm not afraid to fail if it means I'll rise higher next time. The world loves to talk about success, but it rarely talks about the process, the sleepless nights, the doubt, the silence. Ambition is born in those dark hours when nobody's clapping, when nobody's watching. It's when a man decides that his dream matters more than his comfort. Not the money, not the fame, but the mission. A man on a mission has a certain glow, something untouchable. He walks different because his vision keeps him alive. But let's be real. Ambition ain't just about chasing goals. It's about the kind of person you become while chasing them. It teaches patience, resilience, and sacrifice. It humbles you. A man with ambition learns that success don't come quick. It comes after rejection, pain, and a whole lot of no's. And yet he keeps moving. That's what separates him from the rest. That's what women notice. The consistency, the refusal to quit. Because deep down, everyone wants to feel connected to something strong, something that doesn't give up. You ever seen a man who's fully focused on his path? His eyes got that look, not of arrogance, but of certainty. It's like he's already seen the future and he's walking toward it. That's ambition. And it ain't just about careers or money. It's about everything. The way he treats his life, his health, his relationships, his purpose. Women lust after that because ambition feels like safety. It feels like direction. A man who knows where he's going makes her feel like she can trust the journey. And ambition, when it's pure, ain't selfish. It's not about stepping on others to climb higher. It's about building something that lasts, a legacy, a story, a change. That's what makes it beautiful. Because a man who wants to make a mark in the world automatically stands out. In a time where most people just exist, an ambitious man creates. He shapes reality. He don't wait for miracles, he becomes one. Think about the greats, the dreamers, the innovators, the fighters. They weren't born different, they just refused to settle. And that's what ambition does. It transforms ordinary into extraordinary. It tells a woman, I won't just talk about a better life. I'll build it. That's power. That's movement. That's what makes a woman look at him, not just with lust, but with admiration. Because she sees the warrior in him, the man who refuses to surrender. And maybe that's what it really is. Ambition isn't just attractive, it's contagious. It makes her want to grow too. It lights a spark inside her to chase her own dreams. That's why it's magnetic. It's not about dominance. It's about inspiration. A man with ambition doesn't just walk his path. He awakens others along the way. So when women feel drawn to that kind of man, it's not about material things. It's about energy. The energy of progress, of movement, of never giving up. Because deep down, everyone wants to stand next to someone who refuses to stop climbing. That's what ambition is. The heartbeat of greatness, the rhythm of creation, the proof that the human spirit can't be contained. Emotional control, that's where true strength lives. Anybody can raise their voice, but not everyone can stay calm when the world's pushing their buttons. That's real power. When a man learns to control his emotions, he becomes dangerous in the best way. Not violent, not reckless, but focused. He becomes the kind of man who don't let chaos pull him out of character. And women, they feel that energy. They're drawn to it because it's rare. In a world full of loud tempers and fragile egos, emotional control feels like peace. It feels like safety. See, most people confuse silence with weakness, but silence is power when it's mastered. A man who don't react to every insult or disrespect isn't scared, he's wise. He knows his peace is more valuable than any argument. He's not fighting for ego. He's protecting his spirit. Women lust after that calm because it shows discipline. It shows he's not a slave to his emotions. He feels everything, but he doesn't let everything control him. That's maturity, the kind that comes from being tested and not breaking. When life hits, emotions are the first thing to shake. Anger, pride, frustration, they rise fast. But a man with emotional control doesn't let that wave drown him. He feels the storm, then he centers himself. That's leadership. That's manhood. Because real men don't lose themselves when things go wrong. They learn to stand still in the fire. Women sense that strength. They see it in the way he handles pressure, how he listens before reacting, how he walks away instead of proving a point. That quiet restraint is magnetic. I've seen men lose everything because they couldn't control what they felt in a single moment. A bad decision, a fight, a word said out of anger. Emotions can destroy more than fists ever could. But when a man learns to master his emotions, he masters his life. He's not running from feelings, he's guiding them. He knows when to speak and when to stay silent, when to move and when to wait. That balance, that wisdom, makes him unstoppable. And women, they can't help but respect that because it's not just attractive, it's stable. Imagine a situation where everything around is falling apart, bills stacking up, arguments happening, people switching sides, and this man is still calm. He ain't numb, he's aware. He's thinking clearly. That's the kind of presence that brings peace into a room. It's not about pretending nothing hurts. It's about knowing how to handle pain without letting it turn you bitter. That's emotional control, turning your storms into lessons instead of letting them destroy your peace. And the truth is, women lust after that kind of man, not because he's untouchable, but because he's grounded. When she's with him, she feels his stability. He doesn't explode in anger. He doesn't crumble under pressure. He's steady. She knows that when life throws its worst, he'll still stand tall. That's safety. That's strength that doesn't have to shout. In a world where people are emotionally unstable, a man with self-control becomes a rare gem. Calm, focused, unshaken. Emotional control also shows emotional intelligence, the ability to understand others without judging. A man who controls his own emotions can handle hers too. He listens. He doesn't take her pain as an attack. He knows how to bring peace instead of chaos. And that makes her trust him. Because trust doesn't grow from promises. It grows from consistency, from how a man reacts when things get ugly. A man with emotional control has already fought the hardest battle, the one within himself. He's faced his anger, his fears, his doubts, and he's learned how to guide them, not hide them. That's what makes his energy powerful. When he walks into a room, he carries stillness, not noise. And that stillness pulls people in. That's why women lust after men with emotional control, because he's not fighting to prove he's strong. He is strong. His peace speaks louder than his pride. His calm becomes a comfort. In a world that's always rushing, yelling, and breaking, that calm becomes the most irresistible thing of all. Mystery. That's the silent rhythm that plays between curiosity and desire. It's that unspoken language that says, you don't have to know everything about me to feel me. A mysterious man don't shout his story to the world. He lets people feel it in pieces. Every word, every glance, every silence, it carries meaning. And that's what draws people in, especially women. Because mystery ain't about hiding. It's about depth. It's about layers. It's about the man who's seen things, lived things, learned things, and doesn't need to tell you all of it to prove it. See, in this world where everybody's posting every thought, every move, every emotion online, being mysterious has become rare. We live in an era where oversharing is the new normal, but real strength, real attraction lies in privacy. A mysterious man understands that not everything sacred needs to be seen. He doesn't need to announce his plans or explain his every decision. He moves in silence because he's too focused on doing instead of talking. Women feel that. They can sense when a man has more going on beneath the surface than what he shows. And that mystery, it keeps them thinking, wondering, and wanting to know more. But let's make something clear. Mystery ain't about being cold or distant. It's not about playing games or acting uninterested. It's about holding your truth with intention. It's about being selective with what you reveal because you understand your energy is valuable. When you share every piece of yourself too fast, you give away the magic. But when you move with patience, when you let people discover you slowly, that's when connection becomes real. That's when interest turns into fascination. Women lust after mystery because it awakens imagination. It makes them think beyond what's in front of them. They start wondering, what's he been through? What drives him? What's behind that calm look in his eyes? And in that wondering, they become invested. Mystery turns curiosity into attraction, attraction into emotion. It's the oldest game of human connection, not manipulation, but presence. You don't tell the world who you are, you show it piece by piece through your actions, your energy, your silence. The mysterious man isn't trying to be unpredictable, he's just real. And reality isn't always loud. He's not afraid of quiet moments because he's comfortable in his own thoughts. He doesn't fill every silence with words because he knows silence can speak louder. That self-comfort is what women feel. They can sense that this man doesn't need attention to feel alive. He's already grounded. And that's the paradox. The less he reveals, the more they want to know. Think about it. Mystery keeps life exciting. When you already know everything about someone, the story ends. But when there's still something to discover, something that feels just out of reach, desire stays alive. A mysterious man keeps that spark burning because he doesn't give everything away too soon. His life has depth and he invites people into it slowly, not all at once. That's what makes every interaction meaningful. Every word feels earned. Every truth feels special. Women lust after that, not because of what he hides, but because of how he moves. Maybe he doesn't talk much, but when he does, it's with purpose. Maybe he doesn't show off his success, but his aura says he's got something worth protecting. That's the kind of man who stays on a woman's mind long after he's gone. Because mystery leaves an echo, something to think about, something to feel. And mystery isn't just attractive, it's powerful. It keeps a man in control of his energy. When you don't reveal everything, you stay unpredictable. Not in a manipulative way, but in a natural one. You're not giving people the blueprint to your soul. You're making them earn your truth. And that's what makes your presence valuable. Women respect that because it shows discipline. It shows that you've mastered the art of balance. Giving enough to connect, but holding enough to keep your spirit protected. Let me tell you something real. Mystery is built from experience. It's the result of living, loving, losing, and learning that not everyone deserves every part of you. A man who's been through pain and healed in silence carries a certain aura. You can feel it before he even speaks. It's the kind of energy that tells you he's been broken before, but he built himself back stronger. That kind of energy doesn't need words. It speaks through eyes, through tone, through presence. That's what mystery is. Earn silence. Women lust after that because it's not something you can fake. You can't act mysterious. You become mysterious through wisdom, through patience, through growth. It's the weight of your experiences that creates that quiet power. It's the understanding that real value isn't loud. You don't reveal everything because you don't need to. And that kind of man, calm, grounded, private, becomes unforgettable. So when people wonder why mystery is so magnetic, it's simple. The world is full of noise, but silence stands out. The mysterious man doesn't compete for attention. Attention finds him. He doesn't explain himself. He lets his energy do the talking. He's not a book you read once. He's a story that unfolds slowly, chapter by chapter, moment by moment. And that's why women lust after him. Because mystery and confusion, it's that. It's not about being distant. It's about being real. And in a time where everything's exposed, the man who stays unread becomes the one everyone wants to understand. Purpose. That's the heartbeat of a real man. It's the thing that separates those who wander from those who lead. You can feel it in the way he walks, the way he moves, the way he breathes. A man with purpose don't just wake up, he rises. He don't chase pleasure, he chases meaning. His steps are guided by something bigger than comfort, bigger than money, bigger than approval. He's building something that outlives him. And that right there is what makes women look twice, because purpose is power you can't fake. When a man knows why he's here, everything about him changes. His eyes have focus, his words have weight, his time has value. He doesn't move aimlessly because he understands his mission. He ain't trying to impress anyone. He's trying to fulfill something deep within. Women feel that. They're drawn to that energy like gravity because it feels rare in a world where most people drift. A man with purpose becomes the anchor in a storm. Steady, driven, untouchable. See, purpose gives life rhythm. It makes you disciplined. When a man finds what he's meant to do, whether it's creating, leading, teaching, building, he stops running after temporary things. He doesn't need to beg for attention or chase validation because he's too busy becoming who he's meant to be. And women, they see that focus. It's not arrogance, it's clarity. When a man walks with direction, she knows his soul ain't lost. That's what pulls her in. Not the flash, not the words, the vision. I seen men with everything still feel empty because they had no purpose. And I seen men with nothing but a dream glowing with peace because they knew what they were fighting for. That's the difference. Purpose fills the spaces that pleasure never can. It gives meaning to struggle, turns pain into progress. Women can sense when a man's pain has been turned into power. It's in his silence, in the way he works, in the way he refuses to quit. That's what makes him magnetic. He's not moved by trends, he's moved by truth. A purposeful man doesn't live for the weekend, he lives for the mission. Every day is a step towards something bigger. That's the kind of energy that inspires loyalty. Because when a woman sees a man building something, her instincts respond. It's not about control, it's about leadership. A man with purpose isn't out here drifting from one thing to another. He's steady, he's consistent, and that makes her feel secure, not because he promises everything, but because he's grounded in something real. Purpose also brings peace. When a man's living for something greater, small things don't shake him. Drama doesn't interest him. Distractions don't move him. He's locked in, focused on growth. That focus builds confidence, not the kind you show off, but the kind that speaks through action. And that's what women find irresistible, because purpose gives a man depth. It gives him identity. It makes him hard to replace because what he offers isn't surface level. It's soulful. You ever meet someone whose presence feels bigger than the moment? That's a man living his purpose. His words hit different. His energy feels intentional. You can see the journey in his eyes, the battles, the lessons, the dreams still alive. That's the kind of man who doesn't just take space. He changes it. That's what women respond to. They don't just want a man who exists. They want a man who builds. But here's the truth. Purpose isn't something you find overnight. It's discovered through struggle, failure, reflection. It's in the moments when you question yourself, but keep going anyway. That's where purpose grows. In the grind, in the pain, in the quiet hours nobody sees. And when a man finally connects with it, he becomes unstoppable. That's why women lust after men with purpose. Because purpose is direction, purpose is peace, purpose is passion wrapped in discipline. It's not about chasing everything. It's about choosing one thing and giving it everything you've got. A man like that don't just live, he leads. And in a world full of noise, his purpose becomes his voice. Independence, that's the mark of a man who's found himself. It's not about walking alone just to prove a point. It's about being whole, even when you stand by yourself. A man with independence doesn't move out of need, he moves out of choice. He's not chasing approval, not begging to be understood. He's got his own rhythm, his own peace, his own direction. And that's something people can feel, especially women. His independence is freedom, and freedom is attractive. See, an independent man carries a certain quiet around him. It's not arrogance, it's self-sufficiency. He's not trying to be seen because he already knows who he is. He doesn't depend on anyone to define his worth. His validation comes from what he's built, not from what others think. That kind of energy, steady, calm, and self-contained, is rare in a world where most people are scared to be alone. And that's why women lust after it, because independence looks like strength, but it feels like peace. You ever notice how some people can't sit with themselves? They need noise, attention, drama, anything to fill the silence. But an independent man doesn't fear that silence. He embraces it. He finds comfort in his own company because he spent time getting to know himself. That's power. When you can sit in stillness and not feel empty, you've won a battle most people don't even know they're fighting. And women feel that energy. They feel when a man doesn't need the world, he chooses what he allows in his world. That's confidence without words. An independent man ain't cold or closed off. He's just careful. He's learned that not everyone deserves access. He protects his time, his energy, his peace. He knows what drains him and what fuels him. And when a woman sees that, it's not about control, it's about discipline. She knows that if he can respect his own boundaries, he'll respect hers too. Independence teaches balance, how to give without losing yourself, how to love without clinging, how to stand next to someone without falling apart when they're gone. Women lust after that because independence feels stable. It feels grounded. When she looks at that kind of man, she sees someone who doesn't break easily. He's not emotionally desperate or constantly seeking attention. He's content within himself. And that's rare because in truth, most people are searching for someone to complete them. But an independent man is already complete. He's not looking for someone to fill a void. He's looking for someone to grow with. That's the kind of connection that lasts. Independence also brings clarity. When a man isn't relying on others to make him feel whole, he can make decisions with a clear mind. He's not moved by trends or opinions. He's moved by principles. He's not afraid to walk alone if it means staying true to his values. That's the kind of man who earns respect before he earns affection. Because people may not always agree with him, but they can't deny that he stands firm. That kind of strength, the ability to stay rooted while the world sways, is magnetic. I've seen men lose themselves in relationships, friendships, and crowds because they never learned how to be alone. Independence fixes that. It teaches you how to build from within. It reminds you that your peace, your success, your happiness, they start with you. And once a man understands that, he becomes unstoppable. Because no one can take away what he didn't depend on others for in the first place. And that's the beauty of independence. It's quiet, but powerful. It's not about rebellion. It's about self-respect. It's not about isolation. It's about strength. A man who can stand on his own 2 feet doesn't fear losing people because he's not lost without them. And that's exactly why women find him so captivating, because in him they see stability, someone who doesn't crumble under pressure or beg to be needed. An independent man moves through life like a mountain, solid, unmoved, eternal. He knows his worth, protects his energy, and walks his path with purpose. He doesn't chase, he attracts. He doesn't depend, he connects. And that kind of man, complete, calm, and confident, becomes unforgettable in a world still learning what it means to be whole. Patience, the quiet strength that separates men who react from men who rise. In a world obsessed with instant results and fast motions, patience has become a lost art. Yet it's the one quality that defines true power. A man who has mastered patience doesn't move on impulse. He moves with intention. He knows that everything valuable, from success to peace, from love to legacy, takes time. And while most are busy rushing, he's busy building. Patience isn't weakness, it's control. It's knowing that you could act, but choosing not to until the time is right. The impatient man burns out quickly. He rushes decisions, forces outcomes, and ends up chasing things that were never meant for him. But the patient man understands the rhythm of life. He knows that everything unfolds when it's supposed to. He doesn't fight the timing, he flows with it. That calm, that quiet confidence, that steady focus, that's what makes him powerful. See, patience teaches a man emotional discipline. When life throws challenges, he doesn't panic. When people test his limits, he doesn't break. He doesn't let anger or ego dictate his moves. Instead, he observes, he learns, and he responds only when it matters. That kind of control is rare and it's magnetic. Because people can feel when someone's energy isn't scattered. Patience gives a man presence, that grounded, composed energy that makes everyone else slow down when he walks into a room. Patience also builds wisdom. The man who waits learns more than the man who rushes. He sees details others miss, patterns others ignore. He learns how people move, how situations evolve, and how timing shapes everything. This wisdom becomes his advantage. Whether it's in business, relationships, or personal growth, the patient man always ends up ahead because he doesn't just want to win fast. He wants to win right. But patience isn't just about waiting. It's about what you do while you wait. It's the discipline to keep working even when results don't show. It's the belief that your consistency will pay off. Every great man in history, every leader, every creator, every visionary was patient. They endured failure, rejection, and doubt, yet they kept moving. Because patience isn't passive. It's active faith. It's putting in effort every day while trusting the process will unfold in its time. And when it comes to relationships, patience becomes love's most powerful form. A patient man doesn't rush connection or force affection. He understands that trust, respect, and deep emotional bonds take time. He's not in love with the idea of love. He's in love with growth, with understanding, with stability. That's why women are drawn to men with patience. Because patience feels safe. It feels steady. It tells her that he won't give up when things get tough, that he values progress more than perfection. Patience also protects a man's peace. When you're patient, you don't get lost in frustration or chaos. You stop reacting to everything and start choosing your battles. You learn to let go of what you can't control and focus on what you can. That's how inner peace is built. Not by escaping storms, but by learning to stand calm in the middle of them. A patient man doesn't let life rush him. He lets life reveal itself. In the end, patience shapes character. It turns ambition into mastery, pain into wisdom, and waiting into growth. It teaches humility, reminding a man that timing isn't always his to command, but his attitude always is. Patience gives strength without noise, confidence without arrogance, and faith without fear. The man who learns patience becomes unshakable. He doesn't chase instant gratification because he's building something timeless. He doesn't fear delays because he knows delay isn't denial, it's preparation. And when his moment comes, he's ready, calm, focused, and steady. That's the quiet power of patience. It turns ordinary men into legends, one moment of control at a time. So when you strip everything down, the noise, the ego, the chase, it all comes back to patience. That's the real test of a man. It's not how fast you move, but how deeply you stand. Patience separates boys from men, dreamers from doers, talkers from legends. Because in the stillness of waiting, in the grind that no one sees, your character is forged. Every trial, every delay, every unanswered prayer is shaping you for something greater. A man with patience walks through life with peace in his chest and purpose in his stride. He's not desperate for validation, not shaken by rejection, not controlled by time. He trusts the process because he trusts himself. And that kind of energy, that calm confidence draws everything toward him. Love, respect, success, peace. All of it gravitates to the man who doesn't rush what's divine. So if you're building, keep building. If you're waiting, keep believing. Don't confuse silence for absence or delay for denial. What's meant for you is already aligning. It's just waiting for you to be ready. Patience isn't about standing still. It's about standing strong. When the world moves too fast, be the man who moves with purpose, not pressure. Because in the end, time bows to patience. And the one who learns to wait with faith, discipline, and peace, he doesn't just get what he wants. He becomes who he was meant to be.